Ladies and gentlemen, the coffee goat is back. Caleb, the founder of Connect Roasters Coffee, the producer of the best quality coffee that you can find, that I have come across, period. They work with our guys, Dom Frederick and Ian Happ. You've seen our visits to their headquarters back last spring and summer. Then there's actually this company's product has turned me into a coffee guy. I'm getting there. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, from Connect Roasters out of Bourbonnais, product of Olivet Nazarene, Caleb Benoit. Caleb, how are you, my man?
I'm good. That's one of the better introductions I think I've ever received. I need to record that and take that around with me.
Feel free. Clip it up, Zach. Send it to him in an email. It was a little rusty. It's been a while since I've given an intro here, so it wasn't a 10. I'd give myself 8.1. I could do you better one.
At least. I had it closer to 9. Thanks, boys. Thanks.
He spends his whole school day thinking about that.
Got to stay occupied.
That's right. You guys drinking some coffee now, or is it too late in the day for you?
It's too late for me, but my grandpa was a big coffee drinker, and he could drink a cup of coffee at 10:30 at night and go to bed at 10:40.
Yeah, I think
I'm not that way. I'll be up all night.
I think that generation just drank coffee from like sun up to sundown and didn't really think twice about it.
Just built up an insane tolerance.
Immune to caffeine.
Yeah.
He's had so much of it, just his tolerance is so high.
Yeah. One of my stupid New Year's resolutions was to consume less caffeine because I feel like I overdo it almost every day. So I've been trying to ease back on that. So if I had one now, I'd probably be up till 2 or 3 in the morning. So it'd probably throw me off. But like I said, man, when we were out and obviously saw around the headquarters, and I told you I'm not a coffee guy, and those pods that we got, and I'll tell you, man, those teas we got out at your guys' place, absolutely love those.
Well, I appreciate you guys making the trip down. I know that's not necessarily a short trip for you guys, but it's fun seeing you face to face and interacting some. Those events that we hosted, and we'll be doing more this year. They're just cool opportunities to connect with people that you meet online, you talk to on social media, but maybe don't have the opportunity to get to know face to face. And so, anytime we can facilitate some of those face-to-face meetings, that's always gratifying. That's always a good time.
Absolutely.
And speaking of that, we saw you guys were at CubsCon this weekend, face-to-face with the people. How was that?
Oh man, it was awesome. It was a great weekend. We were up there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the weekend of Cubs convention. If you guys have gone, you kind of know how it's laid out. We were up on the 4th level, like right outside the ballroom, where a lot of the player stuff was happening. Red carpet. Ian recorded the Compound podcast in there. There were a lot of the player sessions that were happening up there. So yeah, we had a great great location. Sold a bunch of product. Met so many Connect Roasters supporters. So many members of the Home Run Club. Obviously it's a lot of people who are from, Chicagoland area, but I met Home Run Club members from Oklahoma, California. Again, like just talking about this idea of like, we build these relationships online, email, social media, whatever, but to be able to put faces with names and meet people in person in real life. It's a cool thing. It's a cool thing as a business owner to have those conversations with your customers face to face, and get feedback, mix it up. Just a great weekend. First time at Cubs convention too. Never been there as a business. Never been there as an individual. Didn't know what to expect, but it was a good time.
Yeah, I saw that there was a video of people waiting in line at like 4 a.m. to get in. Is it that wild?
It was crazy. So we got there, Nick from our team and I got there at like 8:30 on Friday morning. And there were people in the lobby or one of the lobby areas who had clearly been there all night. Like we walked in, there was like stacks of pizza boxes, guys trading like baseball cards. So it's, it's some diehards. They're there to see their people, to meet the players, get autographs. It's crazy.
So was the event at the Zachary Hotel, that was separate, right?
Yeah, there were two events that weekend. So the Cubs convention was at the Sheridan Grand Riverwalk, I think it's called, right on the river there. And then, yeah, we did an event on Sunday at Hotel Zachary across the street from Wrigley Field. We did a launch party. We started supplying coffee to Hotel Zachary, and to celebrate the start of that partnership, we did a launch party. Ian did some guest bartending. We had 3 coffee cocktails on the menu, so that was a good time too. It was between the two, it was a full weekend.
So beyond that, the Hotel Zachary is that all it's cracked up to be? Obviously, we've only seen pictures. That place looks phenomenal. You know, being inside and seeing it, is it all it's everybody makes it out to be?
It's a beautiful space. I mean, first of all, like, you can't beat the location, right? Like, it's literally right across the street from Wrigley Field. But yeah, it's a beautiful space. We did the event in the bar on the second level, I think. And it's just, yeah, it's a gorgeous space. If you saw some of the photos or the videos that we shared, yeah, just premium environment. Food and drink are both great. We're really proud to have, our product in a place like that, in an environment like that. Hoping to do some more events there in the future. Maybe this summer, in the middle of the baseball season, would be a good time for that. But yeah, really proud and excited to have that partnership.
I was gonna say, hell of a name too.
With Hotel Zachary.
Yeah, I was like, man, the only way I could really stay there would be if they were just to be like, hey, your name's Zachary, you can stay
Comp your room,
dude. If you're not getting comped room, something's not right, man. You need to be getting that discount.
But yeah, that location has to be just perfect.
I mean, yeah, like, I think some of those, I actually haven't been in any of the rooms yet, but some of those rooms, like, they look out across the street and you see Wrigley, right? Like, what better backdrop could you want? So yeah, you need to talk to those people there. We'll get you on the phone with PM and see what kind of discount we can negotiate for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna need something to stay there.
I think
But-
the Ian told me the players get a discount there, so maybe you can get a player discount somehow.
Yeah, I mean, hey Ian, can I borrow that, please? It's like, they said the perfect location, but even like in the wintertime with the background of when they had all the Christmas stuff going on too.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the Cubs are trying to do more and more with that space, on Gallagher Way, apart from just, Cubs games at home, right? And so, yeah, they had the Winterland event there this winter as part of the Chris Kindle Market series. We actually supplied the coffee that was in the little huts outside of Wrigley. So that was a fun thing. But yeah, I love seeing things happen there, not just during baseball season, but during the winter months. Yeah, and if you live in Chicago or the Midwest, right, like, you gotta have something to look forward to in like December and January.
Well,
and that's got to say something to you.
Too, so might as well use it.
100%.
Exactly. It's got to say something to you as a business owner when you say about, supplying stuff for, this event, and obviously how far the company has come, and you're, working, with the hotel there and everything. That's got to say something to the hard work that you guys have put in and the quality of the product that you're putting in. Because it's not like you're getting your hotel put into like a Motel 6, right? You're going into a luxury hotel in the, heart of Chicago. I think that is such a compliment to what you guys are doing. Have you had that moment where you step back and be like, man, that is pretty damn cool?
Yeah. And I think, that Sunday when we like co-hosted that event, I think that was one of those moments, right? Like you take a step back or pause for a moment. You're like, oh, this is pretty cool. Cool environment. Again, seeing the Connect faithful out, talking to Ian, enjoying the food and drink. And yeah, I think, for us as a brand, those are the types of partnerships that we want to pursue. Not every business is a good fit for that type of thing. We want to be working and looking to work with organizations and people who, appreciate quality, care about doing things the right way. And so, yeah, Hotel Zachary is one of those. They place a priority or a premium on high quality stuff. And so I think that's one of the reasons why it works.
Yeah, it was cool to see the like the little menu part, and then you got Connect Roaster and Hotel Zachary on there. It's very cool to see. Like you said, you see it, you think about it, but then when you actually see it, it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, something like that, there's a fair amount of work that goes in kind of behind the scenes and ahead of time. And then when you finally see the thing, right, like you see the logo on the menu, or, you're in there in the moment, seeing the product being served and people enjoying it, it's like, yeah, this was worth all the effort and the work. And it makes it worthwhile. It's fun to see the fruits of your labor.
Kind of going off of that, like, so 2022 was a big year from an outsider's perspective for Connect Roasters. What did 2022 do for you guys? And then like linking up with Ian Happ too.
Yeah, I mean, it was a nice year of growth for us in a lot of different ways. You know, the end of the year, we laid the foundation for some of these things that you see now, right? Like, you know, Cubs Convention, Hotel Zachary. We started working on that in 2022. So yeah, the start to some projects. You know, there's some stuff in the works for us right now that was started last year that'll come to fruition this year. We're in the process of actually moving roasting locations. So you guys were in our current location, but we're in the process of moving across town into a bigger space that I think is going to be better for us, having more room and facilitate growth. And then we're looking to open a cafe in 2023. And so a lot of the homework that has gone into that, you know, started last year, even the year before, right? So yeah, some of these projects are the cool things that happen. It's easy to look at those and be like, oh, that's awesome. But sometimes you don't think about, or sometimes I even forget, like, man, we've been laying the foundation for this, or the groundwork for this for 12 to 24 months, if that makes sense.
Because you guys started as a company in 2016, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So yeah, this is, I mean, a culmination of, and you're still not even to the end goal, right? You know, there really is no end goal when running a business, but like you're still 7 years in, and look what you've done now. I mean, that's, you know, that's really cool thing to see. And, you know, we had come out to those, I can't remember exactly what you call, but I called them the coffee classes.
Yeah.
At the headquarters. And I know you had mentioned about doing more. Anything specific you guys got in mind? Because I think we came to the roasting one and the espresso class.
Yeah, so roasting espresso, those were popular, sold out. So we're going to be doing those again in this year when we get into the new facility. So roasting espresso, and then just a general kind of like seed to cup education class that includes some tastings. You know, one of the things that's fun to do is put a couple different coffees next to each other, try them side by side, and see how they're different, right? You know, generally speaking, coffee from Africa tastes different than coffee from Central America. Sometimes it's hard to identify those differences if you drink, you know, one day and one the next. When you've got them brewed side by side and you're going back and forth, it's easier to see those things. It's, for a coffee nerd like me, that's fun. Maybe it's not fun for everybody, but so yeah, we'll do a class like that as well. That's, you know, that's in our plans.
So when we came out for the class, even like just at the headquarters, it did have like a cafe kind of vibe in a way. So I could tell like that's where you guys kind of wanted to go to.
Yeah, you know, I think in a facility like that, you know, some of the equipment that you see in a cafe, we need to have behind the scenes in our production facility to be doing like quality control and testing and things like that. So, yeah, the environments can look similar, right? Like, you know, when we open a cafe, we're obviously going to have an espresso machine and an espresso grinder there. Well, we need one of those so we can be doing quality control and testing, you know, as we're roasting coffee. So yeah, those environments can look the same. Less seating in in the production space, but yeah, I mean, I think we're looking forward to opening the cafe in a lot of ways. That'll be kind of the next chapter for our business. And I think that'll open up some more opportunities. So it's exciting in a lot of different ways.
Maybe a little idea here. We've talked, I'm obviously a coffee dummy. Maybe one of your classes, like beginner coffee for dummies, because I would fit perfectly in for that.
You're the first guy to buy the ticket. No, that's great.
Oh,
I mean,
100%.
We love hearing feedback from customers. It's like those classes are all about education, right? So like whatever our people want to learn about, like that's what we should be teaching. So yeah, I think, you know, being someone who knows a bit about coffee and doing this for a while, like sometimes you take for granted the fact that, you know, some of your customers don't know the same things that you do. So if we can download that learning to people who want to learn, like that's a win. So coffee for dummies, I love it. Coffee 101.
Exactly.
Speaking of that, I was watching when Ian Happ was making the coffee at the booth, and
Yep.
I had no idea what was going on there.
I mean, he's an advanced coffee brewer. So I think what you saw in the video was he was brewing on a Chemex, which is a pour over coffee brewer.
Mhm.
And I think he had maybe a couple side by side or even three of them. And so yeah, he was like pouring water into one and then pouring water into the next one. So it's just a manual way to brew coffee. But in 2022, we launched like custom Chemex brewers. So it's like this glass carafe and it's got this wood collar around it. Well, we engraved the Connect Roasters logo and then Ian's signature into that wood collar. And then it has a little ball on the end. And so we engraved like baseball stitches on that ball. So it looks like a baseball. And then we did custom color leather straps on it, blue and red, Cubs color.
That's awesome.
So,
That's amazing.
yeah, it was kind of a meta moment, right? Like you've got Ian Happ brewing coffee on Ian Happ's coffee brewer.
Signed by Ian Happ.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, it's a meta thing.
Have you noticed, like, I guess it's like I got on TikTok, probably the same time everybody did. And like, there's, I don't know if it's just my algorithm or because I was at your guys' headquarters and they know too much, but like I've seen a lot more of like coffee content through TikTok. Do you feel like the social media like use of all that stuff has grown people into, kind of more than just like going to Starbucks and get a coffee, like more into home brewing and stuff that, you guys teach about? And
yeah, it feels like it, compared today to 5 or 10 years ago, it feels like people care more about like brewing at home. They want to be brewing the right way and the best coffee possible. Yeah, I mean, like you walk into a specialty cafe and it's just kind of like Instagrammable, right? Like there's so many cool photo opportunities, whether it's, the latte art that got poured into your cup, right? It's a heart or a Rosetta or something like that. It's just like, oh, it's a perfect photo. So I think the coffee space and the cafe environment lends itself to good looking photos and videos. But yeah, it does feel like the consumer today is maybe a little bit more advanced than 5 or 10 years ago, caring about, like I said, how coffee is brewed at home, or even being smarter when they're shopping as a consumer, right? Like walking into a shop and knowing maybe the type of coffee that they want to take home with them to brew, that type of thing. So yeah, I think consumers are more educated and sophisticated today than 5 years ago.
because like the dorky part of my brain, like the map, the geography part that you guys did an awesome job with was explaining like where these certain beans came from and like your travels to get to these places and how all that stuff kind of comes together. I think that like, when you almost give people a little backstory, it, like you said, you're more informed, you are more, you have an understanding of where your product comes from. And obviously you guys have a big part of, doing things the right way and getting them from the right places and making sure that you have high quality stuff. Like that stuff really shows, when you're bringing that information and that product to the consumer.
Yeah, I mean, I think that context is meaningful, right? Like that's why people seek out that information. It helps them, I don't better enjoy the product. I don't think that's saying too much. Like, that coffee that you have tomorrow morning, at least having a general idea of where that comes from in the world, like for whatever reason, I think it leads to a more enjoyable experience. And like some people don't care to get into all the nuances or the details, but I think generally speaking, the more you know about the product you're consuming, the more you appreciate it. So yeah, I think you're right. I think that makes a lot of sense.
So with you guys obviously having this great relationship with Ian Happ, is there any plans to maybe expand to more players? Or I mean, because I've seen a lot of the stuff with I think it was even Talon that Ian had sent him coffee, was it leaving last year before they even knew that he was still with the Yankees and stuff like that. It's very cool how it all kind of comes together.
I mean, it definitely feels like coffee consumption on the Cubs might hit an all-time high this year. Some of the new guys. Yeah, Jameson Taillon is a big coffee guy. I read that in New York when he was with the Yankees, he had like a pour over set up like at his locker in the clubhouse. So yeah, I think he's deep into it. He came by the Connect booth on Saturday, I think it was, and we got him a travel mug and filled him up with some coffee to get his day off on the right foot. And then Tucker Barnhart, he was a supporter of the lockout blend that we did at the beginning of last season. I know he's a big coffee guy. So yeah, like we'll see what the season holds, but yeah, I'm optimistic, and I'd like to think that we could be doing some stuff with some other players and maybe the Cubs in general. But yeah, I think regardless that that clubhouse is going to be well caffeinated this year.
It'd be so cool just to have like a coffee that you had something to do with, you made, and it's in the clubhouse of a team that you love to cheer for.
I mean, man, if they wanted to invite me into the clubhouse and pour overs on a Chemex, like I'd probably do that. I'll pass out some coffee as guys are hitting the field.
So this might be like, do baseball players gravitate more towards coffee than any other sport? Like, do you think like there could be a connection with like an NBA player in the city or a football player, or does just baseball players lend themselves to being coffee guys? I don't know. It feels like obviously with Ian Happ and us knowing you guys that there's that relationship there, but like, does the coffee game lend itself to other sports too?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's more prevalent in baseball. I don't know if it's because like I don't know, not that it's more leisurely, but there's more downtime and both coffee and baseball have such a rich tradition in this country going back to the late part of the 19th century. So I don't know, maybe that has something to do with it. You do see some guys in other sports like in the coffee game. Jimmy Butler's he's big in the coffee game. He's got a coffee company. He's been doing a ton of stuff around his brand. So it seems like there's guys in the NBA, guys he plays with and against who are in it too. So yeah, I don't know that it's strictly a baseball thing. It seems like there's some NBA attraction there as well. But yeah, maybe there's something about baseball that lends itself to that. I'm not sure.
I think
seems like baseball players
maybe the next one
a
is
little bit in
golf.
the morning.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you
think a 1 o'clock game, maybe you need some coffee.
Yeah.
Like NBA, like they usually play at night. You need the pickup in the morning. I mean, they're NBA and NHL and stuff like that. Their hours are still probably weird, but you would think you think coffee, you kind of think baseball, the locker room, the clubhouse. They have always somebody drinking coffee, the coach.
Yeah, and like the Cubs specifically, right? Like there's so many day games at Wrigley, and so you got a 1 o'clock start. Like what time are you getting to the clubhouse? I think if I was a player showing up to Wrigley for an afternoon game, I think the first thing I'd want when I get there is probably a cup of coffee. So yeah, that I hadn't thought about like game times. That could have something to do with it, certainly. And that there's almost twice as many ball games as there is basketball or hockey. So yeah, it's an interesting thought.
Especially early season baseball. It's cold in Chicago.
That's true. Yeah, we've probably all been to games in April where there's been at least some snow flurries, right?
Opening day, 1996.
That's amazing. I can remember I was at opening day on the south side. I'd have to think about what year that was, but it was the coldest I've ever been. I'm like, what are we doing? This is ridiculous. We should not be playing baseball in the snow.
It's funny because now being older, my dad took me. I was 5 years old at the time, and my dad and I and one of his buddies went to opening day, and of course it was snowing. I had 2 winter coats on, and my dad said that from like the 4th inning on, he kept asking me like, "Hey, if you want to go to the car, it's getting pretty cold." And of course it was my first Cubs game, so I was like, "No, dude, like I want to stay." So I stayed the whole 9 innings, and he told me later on that he was really hoping that he was so cold that I would be like, "Yeah, let's go ahead and go to the car," but it never happened. So
use an excuse. Yeah, that's funny. Like like a football game, it's like, okay, yeah, I can get on board with that. That like comes with the territory, but yeah, man, there's nothing more miserable than like sitting and watching 9 innings when you're freezing.
Definitely.
I think a baseball game is it's the worst spot to be watching a game in cold.
100%.
It just drags on. It seems like that 9 innings takes 7 hours instead of the 3.5 that it probably actually takes.
Yeah, it feels like you're watching a doubleheader.
Yeah, It's tough.
Do
It's
they
tough.
sell coffee at Wrigley Field?
They do. I think for a long time, it was Dunkin' Donuts, I believe, like in the stadium during games. So yeah, I mean that'd be a cool thing for Connect eventually. I don't know exactly, what that could look like, but if Connect Roasters was in the stadium, people could get a cold brew or get a hot coffee. That'd be a win. That'd be a win. That'd be a nice
They'd
opportunity.
be getting better quality coffee.
That's true.
I mean, that'd be cool. I don't know that I've seen any like specialty, quote unquote, specialty coffee roasters doing a lot of like in stadium stuff with in pro sports, but yeah, that'd be a fun exercise.
Yeah, because probably a tough sponsorship. Like I said, they're probably just going to the Dunkin' Donuts and just going, oh, here we go, that'll work.
Yeah, I think there's probably a lot of moving parts to those agreements and partnerships. It's a little more than just like, the company coming in and setting up shop. Yeah, when you get to that level of corporate, those are probably complicated relationships.
Before we let you go, Caleb, my wife is kind of making me ask a question. You guys sold the cold brew bottles at Obvious Shirts, correct?
We did. Yep.
Okay. Is that something you're looking at going forward? Because my wife has been asking me about this. She wants her hands on her, and her cold brew it's getting crazy in this house. So
that's fair. So I'll answer your question in a second, but that's certainly one of the trends that we've seen is like cold brew is not just a summertime or hot weather drink. People are drinking cold brew like year round as their preferred coffee beverage. So yeah, your wife is in probably in the majority at this point. She's a good company. So yeah, we would love to be doing more cold brew. We are selling bottles at Cubs convention actually. Yeah, send me a message after this. We don't have they're not available on the site. We don't have a great system in place. We have been doing some piecemeal stuff with it, and we got some stuff in the works. But yeah, hit me up afterwards, and I'll see if I can make something happen. I owe you guys some stuff anyway, so let's try to make that happen.
Speaking of that, I go to work and I'll have it's 20 degrees out, and I'll have an iced coffee, and the guys will be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, I don't know. I like drinking it, but I probably should have a hot coffee. But it's one of those things. It's like I just like it. But you think about it, that's not something you should probably drink when it's 20 degrees outside and you're working outside.
It's fun. It's funny you mention that because I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. Like I'll drink hot coffee
all year round,
12 months out of the year. It could be 110 degrees in July, and I'm out on on the asphalt, melting and drinking a hot coffee. So yeah, to each their own, man. It's it's all what you like.
Yeah, that's true. That's what I like about coffee. It is what you can drink what you like.
No judgment. No judgment. You drink it. The best coffee is whatever you like and however you like to drink it.
Facts right there. Well, Caleb, thanks as always for joining us tonight. Make sure everyone out there listening checks out Connect Roasters for your coffee needs. ConnectRoasters.com, on Twitter at Connect Roasters. Caleb, it was great hearing from you again, man. We will definitely be out here soon this spring. Thank you for joining us.
Always a pleasure, boys. I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you.